Hi, thanks, Timmy's dad. I was wondering if any of the parents in here have been into the Forbidden Forest. To a person, all of you have. Okay, well, aren't I the only actually forbidden one? Who forbids it? Why is it called forbidden? Because of the danger, and you're not supposed to go into it. So I want to stop you, and I want to highlight that phrase. You're not supposed to go in it. But it seems like on multiple occasions the children have gone on field trips, right? Like school-sanctioned trips into the Forbidden Forest. Yeah, a lot of nodding from everyone. And just blank stares otherwise, so nobody else. We're good with the Forbidden Forest. You've all been in there and you survived. My son talks a lot about giant spiders and monsters and things. He makes it sound like it's a very scary place. Yeah, more nodding, okay. So really scary, but go in there is what I'm getting. I was gonna make a motion that we set different, only morning hours for Forbidden Forest because some of those field trips come back awfully late. But it seems like the Forbidden Forest is an important part of the education, and nobody else wants to actually forbid the Forbidden Forest. We want to make sure that the Forbidden Forest is entirely on limits, is what I'm getting. So motion to make the kids go into the Forbidden Forest less. No, that is denied. Good, great, okay. The word forbidden to me has always meant don't go. No, okay, I'm sorry, sorry to speak out of turn. Does the school offer helmets and magical chainmail and all sorts of protective gear for when they do the broom flying? No? Do your kids have? You just send them on a broom? Okay. Because I know they get hurt a lot. I've seen the scratches and bruises. My son comes home from having been in the crowd watching the broom racing. So why aren't we doing more protective? Because you give them bone grow pills when they break their bones. If they didn't break their bones, it's great that you have bone grow for when they do, but what if we tried harder to make it so they didn't? Make the sport less interesting? I feel like I've heard that about other sports and it never feels like the right argument. It feels like we need to find different ways to be interested. Does anybody share my concern? Yeah, you a little bit about you feel like brooms are getting slower and when you were younger they used to go faster. Okay, you don't share my concern, you have a different concern. You have the opposite concern, the sport. It's getting wimpy. Okay. All right, well, I think it's okay for kids to not break their bones. And maybe anyone else who shares that feeling but is too afraid to say it out loud in front of the group could talk to me afterwards and we can start a support group for kids with functioning bones that haven't been broken and regrown. You're scared. You can say it. Does anybody want to start a phone tree? Oh, no one? Timmy got on a mailing list for some sort of Wizard Weekly, and it's definitely multi-daily. And so the birds are just chucking stuff. And so I know that you all like to do your parent communications via bird message, and that seems to work for everyone. But a lot of it, I think, is getting lost in the clutter. There's also the possibility that I'm not being communicated with, and I see some smiles, so maybe some of you are leaving the non-magical parents off the chain, which, not gonna do anything bad. Go ahead and feel free to send us messages too. If anybody's like, ooh, phones, what a weird sort of magic, I'd be happy to text with you or do phone calls. I'm also very proficient with email. If any of you get on the magical computers, because then I could shoot out an email blast and be like, hey, at the PTA tonight, I'm gonna bring up this issue, and you'll be like, oof. Remind me to go to that meeting late or not at all, because I see how many of you look at me. I'm gonna leave my number out on a table so that nobody has to be seen by the rest of the parents taking my number, because I know that might be uncomfortable. It would be so great to not have as many birds at my house all the time with the letters. It's outrageous. And they're not clean. You all know. Never. Yeah, watch this. Hi. How many people am I allowed to ask who owns or is in charge of house elves here? Hands up everywhere. Wow. Do any of you pay okay. Do your house elves have bedding sheets? Not yours do? It's a cat, it's the cat bed. It sleeps with the cat. Okay. I mean, I can see that. Where are we at in the future of house elves and how we as parents raising children are going to address the situation? Just anyone. You all want me to drop it, don't you? no one here wants me to talk about this. I feel like we have to. Don't you kind of feel like we have to? Isn't the feeling that you have of like, I wish this guy would shut up because you know deep inside that it should be talked about? I'm gonna bring it up again though, because I accidentally got a house elf, and every single day is a different kind of moral torture for me as I try to make his life better. His name is Woplop. I don't know if the house elves meet and talk. No? Okay. So anyways, I do want to continue to bring this up. You have to call on me because we're all out our time, and so I'm gonna keep talking about the house elf thing because it's a little horrible, and I think everyone knows. I think you know that. I think you're looking away because you don't want to know that you know, but you do. Yeah, hi. I just wanted to ask about the magical artifact storage, and I don't know if any of the other parents here have had this issue of magical relics making their way into the home. No one else. Okay, interesting. My son is new to the school, and he's managed to come home with a couple of things that feel dangerous, also important, like you wouldn't want them leaving campus. And so I was just wondering how everyone feels about the storage, if the storage should change, if there need to be more rules in place for kids. So you like that they have access to the magical things? You feel like it's part of their education? I guess he just doesn't know anything yet. And so for him to bring back, it's like what I have. Do you guys know about the evil wizard? Yeah, and the egg. So that's at my house now, and that's crazy to me. And you seem, I get a lot of, right, I'm no magic here, but I've got an evil wizard egg on my shelf. I didn't ask for it. And in fact, I expressly said I didn't want it, and it was brought back to me. I'll leave that for discussion as to what you all want to do to better protect magical relics to make sure that they aren't with guys like me, because it's at my home. Yeah, thanks. I yield my time. My son, Timmy, was interested in doing the broom racing thing, and it's gonna take a few years because he broke his sister's broom, and there's no way we can afford one for her and him. But I wanted to ask, before he reaches an age where he has a broom and is allowed to play, what kind of tests do they have to pass? Because those brooms go incredibly fast. They're motorcycles for the sky, and to drive a motorcycle on the ground, you have to do a lot. You have to really earn that, because of all of the risk. And so my son is 11, and it sounds like if he did have a broom, he'd be able to just fly it in the sky. So yeah, what kind of, there's like a day of training, and what do they have to, they just have to fly on the broom. But you call it a training? You confirm that they can get the broom in the sky. Sounds like they show up and prove that they have a broom. And that's all it takes? Do you have a car? Don't have a car. You have a chariot. It flies. You have a chariot with no wheels. It flies. It's pulled by a griffin. Okay, well, I can't ask any questions about that. Does anybody drive a car and had to get drivers? No. Oh, you have a car? Oh, what? It flies. Okay. So it's like you enchanted a regular car. Okay. I mean, that's different, and you don't have a driver's license? Yeah, okay. Do the kids learn... I wanted to say stuff, but that sounds dismissive. Like science and math. Spells. Well, they're not the same. I mean, respectfully, they're not the same. Because spells is like magical spellcasting, whereas science, the makeup of this guy right here, what's he made out of? And it's not spells. You don't just shake your head. I mean, science. Can we raise your hand if you believe in science? Okay, everybody raise their hand. Raise your hand if you think science is spells. Everybody raise their hand. Science, math, history of wizardry. That's fair. U.S. history? So I imagine world history of wizard world history. Now I know what Timmy's learning, and more specifically what he's not learning, which is a lot of stuff, but everybody seems fine with what's not being learned. Math. How about math? So that's a resounding no. Okay. I mean, look, hated it too, but now I kind of work in numbers, and it's useful. Do wizards add when you're playing your broom games? Like there's scores and stuff. When did you learn to count the numbers in your broom sports? I mean, I learned my sevens really well because of football, but I also took math classes and learned other stuff. It's just like one of those things where if I said sine, cosine, you would start to, ooh, you flinched. Okay, that's funny. So math scares you a little bit. All right, well, okay. Maybe I found my superpower. That's it, I yield. Ooh, tangent, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna, tangent, it's not a spell. I didn't curse you, I said the word tangent. Okay, all right, well, I need to back down. Sorry.